Ms Ostapovitch, thank you very much for coming. And we have members in your electorate, which is the electorate of
Rankin.
And we've got about 2,400 who we've canvassed for questions. So I'm going to greet you. I hope you don't mind.
Thank you, Kevin.
They're all concerned, obviously, about jobs, because at the moment in Queensland, 6 people in every 100 don't have a job. My members obviously need a job to be able to buy properties to get themselves insulated from the pension. Where do you see job growth in Queensland coming from?
Well, it's very important, and thank you for having me here, Kevin. Really appreciate that. I think it's really important, to create jobs, and our government is handling that through stimulating the economy and incentivising small to medium-sized business.
Well, it looks like the infrastructure that were planned for Queensland have failed. So, what's the alternatives? I guess you're back to small business again.
Absolutely. We all know that's the backbone of the economy. Small business employs most of the people.
Looking at the questions that came back from our members, the first home buyers featured quite prominently, either members who want to be first home buyers or their parents who want to help their children to become first home buyers. Where is the first home buyer going to be helped or affected after the election?
Well, I believe there's a first homeowners grant that's available on new property, and that obviously helps. But quite honestly, if we take away the negative gearing, that won't make any difference at all, in my opinion, because the cost of housing is quite unaffordable to the first home buyer at the moment.
I'm concerned that the property investors, 600,000 every year buy property, and only 10% of those buy new property. So if 100% of them are going to buy new property, they're competing with the first home buyers who can only buy new property. So if there's not many bananas in the store and a lot of people are going to come in wanting bananas, the price is going to go up. So I'm concerned that the first home buyer in Rankin is going to be forced into a market where the prices are rising and rising and rising.
Well, I think that if they choose to buy a new property for those reasons that you've stated, that will increase the price of new properties. But I think the evidence is there that the price of resale homes is probably going to go down. And in fact, that's the whole premise of the Labor government is housing affordability. They say that by taking away negative gearing and halving the capital gains tax concession, that will bring the price of houses down. So then I ask the question, do they feel that it's right that every homeowner, people that are paying off a mortgage on their home, that they should take a cut in their greatest asset, their family home? We're not even talking about just investors here. We're talking about any homeowner. The Labor government is expecting people to take a hit on their biggest asset to decrease the value of their home. Is that fair?
Well, I put out a research paper to our members that said borrow against your home now while the value is up, because if it does go down because 600,000 people are taken out of the market, they can't buy your property, then the price must come down. So crystallise any gain now, because it's going to be hard after the election. Wow. So that's our advice to our members too. So really? Hopefully we can do that. But the first home buyer grant here in Queensland is $15,000, but it's only paid if you buy a new property. How are the first home buyers going to be affected if Liberals get in or Labor get in?
Well, there'll be no change if we get back in. And if Labor gets in, well, we know that there will be significant changes and a very big challenge to the property investor. So affordability will decrease. Affordability will become.
Well, the first home buyers going to be competing with 600,000 investors now under Labor, which means prices must go up.
That's exactly right. Rents will increase. They did years ago when this was brought in by the Keating government. It failed then, and it will surely fail again.
Well, I love property, of course, but I don't see how anyone can be insulated from the pension without the property. And you need 7 properties at least to be independent of the pension and live a decent lifestyle where you can spend and create really jobs in the community. So you need 7 properties. So the attack on negative gearing is going to be counterproductive because it's going to push more people onto the dole, and they're going to need more taxes to pay. There are more people on the dole. The less people that are buying investment properties, be it second-hand or new, it means that the rents are going to rise. When we started the club in 1994, it was normal for us to get a 7% rent return because there wasn't a lot of investors around. Now there's more and more investors coming in the market. There's more and more bananas coming to the market. The price has gone down, and now ABS reckon it's about 4.2% is the rental return on investment properties.
Yes, I've heard that.
So if we're going to restrict the number of second-hand properties investors can buy, it means we're going to get back to 7% again.
Yes, which doesn't help those first home buyers to save their deposit. If they're paying more rent, there's less money left over to save for that first home.
So it doesn't seem to be a lot of thought gone into this attack on property in the Labor's plan, but equally from the Liberals' plan, I don't see some positive policies that are going to reduce the high cost of construction. And I've done some figures on it. 40% of the cost of new construction goes in government greed, be it local, state or federal taxes. And a lot of those fees and charges once were paid for by the council out of long-term low interest rate debt, and the money was got back from succeeding rates. I don't see any plan from either party to try and fundamentally change the way buildings are built.
Well, I would think that reinstating the ABCC will go a long way to help reduce the cost of construction. We all know that having to use union labour has increased the price of housing, of apartments in particular. I think it's if you have over 4 stories, then you must use union labour, and like everybody knows what that does to the price of housing affordability or unit affordability. And the fact is that a lot of our young people want to live in the cities. They want to live in apartments until they have their families. So if they're paying a high rent on those units, how will they afford to save for their first home?
So it just gets dearer and dearer. All right. So there's no Liberal Party policy to bring down the high cost of construction at the moment?
Only through the ABCC that we want to bring back. I think
ABCC? What's the ABCC?
The building construction. It's like the watchdog that keeps the unions in line, basically.
Well, many of our builders won't go over 4 or 5 stories because they're concerned that the cost of compliance with the unions, and we just saw some strikes yesterday down at the Commonwealth Games, just makes it unaffordable to build. Why was the ABCC demolished or knocked off?
Well, yeah, that was the Labor government that done that, so you'd have to ask somebody from the Labor Party why they did that, but I think it was an absolute disaster to do that for the construction industry.
So under the Liberals it will definitely come back, under Labor it won't come back.
That's correct. Yeah, that's why we're having a double dissolution.
One final question for you. Well, when we started the club, we were getting 7% rent returns because there were fewer investors. Now there's more and more investors, there's more and more supply. Rents have come down, and according to the ABS now, it's nearly halved. It's about 4.2% is the annual rent return. But where will prices be affected under Liberal or Labor? Because you're looking at new properties under the Liberals or under Labor to get the first home buyer grant, right? So with Labor, we're going to have 600,000 people who weren't competing for new property. Now they can only go for new property. So we've got 600,000 people plus the first home buyers competing in a tiny market. So what's going to happen with prices?
Well, I think new properties will go up in price. It has to. It's a supply and demand, as you pointed out.
So the first home buyer is going to be hurt under Labor. How is the first home buyer going to be affected under Liberals?
Well, there'll be no change. We're not making any changes to the negative gearing policy or the capital gains tax concession.